Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, you know him, he's my co-host, he's the legend of Teos Taylor.
Hey, good evening everybody. Oh, welcome.
Welcome back indeed, new listeners and repeat offenders. Thank you for joining us for another episode.
Oh yeah, good.
Had some really good response to last week. Really good. Enjoyed that episode. And this week we aim to not disappoint. This week we're going to be looking to a strange and fascinating tale. Involving Neil Armstrong. That's right, the first man on the moon. The man.
That's it.
And it's a tale of long-lost metal library.
Yeah.
Supposedly containing forgotten secrets, technology from an ancient culture, or even an alien civilization.
And a lot more.
That's all hidden in a cave
system.
Near you. A cave near you.
Yeah.
If you live near Ecuador, then it possibly could be.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, I would imagine.
All exciting stuff. I'm pretty sure you will agree. And that's all coming up a little bit later on in the show, along with what's fucked up where you're from. The latest from the NASA news. Well worth sticking around for, I'm sure you'll agree. But before we get into all that, what have you been up to this week, Mr. T?
Me, I've been looking back into the...
Bringing back better, building back better. Oh, Anunnaki. Yeah. Well, they might have some sort of connection with this tonight.
Well, yeah, actually, funny enough, there's a few things that are new things that I found out about it, like... They're called ghosts, not ghost waters. They're
ghosts?
They're called in other cultures.
And we've still got them apparently
around the world.
Yeah.
They're called what are they called again?
Well, if you're going to do your research, son, make sure you've got it on.
Yeah. Shiny ones.
The shiny
ones.
The shizzly ones.
They were actually in the Bible as well.
Right.
And if you change shiny ones. From Lord, whenever you read the Bible and you read Lord and you take that out and you put shiny ones
change it to shiny ones.
It reads slightly different.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the shiny ones.
Yeah. But apparently they're the
I don't know any Bible
passages,
so yeah. But try that at home, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be an interesting little game to play. You never know.
Yeah, and angels as well. Angels in the Anunnaki substance turns out to be the ones who give us the information.
Yeah, that's like messengers.
Yeah,
that's what I always thought that they were like, and that's when, whenever you do hear those Bible stories, they're not speaking directly to God. They're always like kind of, brought the information by an angel or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, there must be some sort of, if there is anything to it,
should
be some sort of indication, but. So what have you been? So you just been doing some hardcore Anunnaki research this week?
Yeah. And it's changed my mind on something as well. The moon.
Oh right, okay.
Because cultures as well as them talk about having a moon god and stuff like that. So the moon mustn't have come in a couple of thousand years ago.
Oh, I think the moon was something that was kind of created after the fact.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what I think? Potentially, it could. Right. So there's theories to say that like the moon was created because of the asteroid that impacted the Earth. Potentially, that was what it was. Maybe it was that piece of moon, that rock. Do you know that hit us, and that's why it's in our orbit.
Yeah.
But
there's
also evidence to say that there was another planet between
Mars and us.
Yeah. So if that was kind of destroyed, then potentially there could be some sort of bigger boulders, bigger remnants, and one of them was able to get into our orbit. I don't know. Potentially, there's a lot of different theories. Yeah. Who knows what happened?
There's theories out there that it's a spacecraft and it come in.
It's hollow and rings like a bell.
Apparently,
the moon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. According to astronauts, yeah.
Well, like I say, we're going to be talking about Neil later.
Yes, we are.
And obviously, he was the first man to go.
Oh, yes.
And whether that ties in with, his journey to Ecuador, we might find out.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, so I ended up watching a thing about... It was really quite interesting, right? Because it was a question that actually was posed, and I thought... I've never actually thought about it.
Okay.
WhatsApp.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's a free app.
Yes.
Yeah. How'd it make money?
Well, yeah.
Right. They don't advertise. They don't sell your data. In fact, apparently the owners were advocates against it.
Yeah.
Right. And I came across this little documentary video or whatever it was, and it was basically talking about how they managed to sell it for 19 billion. To Facebook, and how, like, you know, the encryptions and all that sort of stuff, all the things that
it was secure,
you use, the security you used WhatsApp for, with, you know, the fact it was a free messaging tool. Why would Facebook buy that when they already had one that did virtually the same thing? Yeah. And basically, you know, the only thing that was valuable to them was your data. Yeah. And it was like, well, do you know what? It's for an app that doesn't make a profit. They spent a lot of money on it.
Oh yeah.
Like, so
but they made a lot of money back.
The data that they've probably acquired by acquisitioning WhatsApp was quite scary. Yeah, and then it was like, you know, they were talking about plans to how they were going to kind of make it a business and more profitable and all the rest of it. Now, one way to do that is to sell your data, and just keep the app as it is, which is pretty kind of standard. But, like, you know, obviously the data that you once thought was secure is now not. And you're seeing it now. I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but, like, when you add a new contact on WhatsApp, if you've not got them as a social media friend on Facebook, it now suggests them as a friend, using your contact information to recommend you friends. Now, you might just put somebody in your phone just to
what a plumber, bam, bam, bam,
exactly, your WhatsApp or whatever, but, like, you know, now it's suggesting that you're more than friends and being more to join my network, if you like. You know,
they're trying to get, and their excuses, we're trying to get people together. We're trying to keep everyone social. Well, you know what? Best off social if I go down to the pub. Is that more sociable if I'm going for a football?
Yeah, I found it really interesting, but, like, I'll try and post a link to it at some point. But, like, I thought it was just an interesting thing, because I thought, you know what? It never dawned on me that this is a business that made no money, like, until they actually sold it. And then the idea that all your data that, you know, they've acquired over the years and going forward,
I believe,
because people are ignorant to it, they just think, oh, it's encrypted. And how encrypted is it actually?
Well, I think we already did little segments throughout the years on it, saying that actually they were going to pay, what was it, £1? If you pay £1
no, they
year.
did. They said that. They actually, it's on the website. A lot of people did actually pay it. Right. But they never chased it up. They never. In fact, I don't think I've ever paid £1
because I was going to come off it then. But then I kept within the next couple of weeks it had changed. So it was like, now I didn't have to do anything.
No, I don't
with
think
it, so
I've ever paid.
It. Yeah. I haven't never paid.
I know they did. I know it was a thing because it was on the website. But, like, they've also got a thing on there saying that they value your data and will never sell it. So, you know.
Yeah, but now Google,
now
Facebook's got it.
It's
totally
take
different.
That bit
down.
Yeah. So other than that, it's been a bit of a non-eventful week. I had a lot of just personal stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this much: we've been nominated for an award.
Yeah.
The Paranormality magazine have nominated us for the podcast and a podcast award.
And
it's for Best UFO Podcast.
Yeah, you get me.
Pretty good.
Yes,
Thank you so much for nominating us. We'd love you guys to get involved and help us out by voting for us.
Yeah, and if you've already voted, get someone who you know to vote as well.
Use a different email address.
There you go.
Vote again.
Yeah.
You know.
More the merrier.
I'm only joking. I don't advocate cheating.
No.
But no, it would be a big help if you went over to the link that's in the description and just drop us a vote. Dead easy. 2-minute job.
Lovely jubilee.
Nice one. I would say thank you in advance because I know you will, because we've got good fans like that.
We have.
Do you know what I mean? Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's so it's been a good week, in fact. So moving on, we have got What's Fucked Up Where You're From this week.
Oh yeah, can it beat last week?
Well, last week's was pretty good. Where was last week's out of? Minnesota again, wasn't
I
it?
believe so, yeah.
Well, this week's from the States again.
Well, we love the States, man.
The States, there's a lot of fucked up stuff going on.
Yeah, especially now.
This week it comes from South Carolina. Carolina. Yeah, so, and it's courtesy of the Drunk Theory podcast.
Ah, good lad.
Who wrote to us a couple of weeks ago to tell us about an incident that happened around their way where they had clowns.
Oh, spooky
clowns.
There's a lot of people who don't like clowns.
I remember this in the news, actually. They were just lurking around. It was pretty wild, they said. Clown sightings in South Carolina. Carolina. Sorry, I'm going to milk that.
You are.
In South Carolina, community and residents were on high alert following reports of masked figures approaching children.
Yeah, that's not
right.
Man.
So in 2016, clown sightings were record high. Evil clowns.
You know what? I feel sorry on that. The proper working clown who's actually going out. Yeah, now he's got to walk around. I know, I might get shot if I go near a kid.
I was on my way to a children's party and everyone started freaking out. Next minute, I'm cuffed.
Yeah.
So this it went viral. Everybody. It was going on all over the United States and Canada. Subsequently, there was other countries and territories that kind of had
no, it was
felt
like
the
a
effect.
little plague, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a little clown plague.
Yeah, it was.
There was even like there was one that kind of the police turned up and it turned out to be marketing for a horror film. So they got in trouble. But one of the most noteworthy incidents was in South Carolina, where a 9-year-old boy told his mother that 2 suspicious males dressed as clowns tried to lure him into the woods in mid-October 2016. So clown sightings and attacks. What?
Yeah. And the clowns are supposed to be...
I know people do. What's the irrational fear of clowns?
I don't know. I know a few people who have got the fear of it, but I've never understood the fear of it. So, makeup and someone wearing
I know a few people who've had a fear of clowns. It's called...
Well, it's not like the boogeyman, is he? I suppose people have had
Colorophobia.
Colorophobia.
Yeah. So if you've got a fear of clowns, that's what it's called. No, it's a fear of clowns called colorophobia. Colorophobia, can be described as a fear of clowns. In intense fear of a certain object or scenario that impacts their their daily life. So if you saw a clown and you had a bad experience, then you might be a bit more. Just
stay away from the circus.
Stay away from Circus Surreal or Circus Soleil.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, don't do it. Well, other weird stuff coming out of Carolina is Charleston Dock Street Theatre.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
What's going on
back in 1736, so this is an old one, when the Americans were still made up of 13 colonies, the Dock Street Theatre was opened. It was the first building dedicated to being a theatre. It was basically built for purpose.
Oh, right, so it's historic then.
Yeah, so, it was because, the people needed the entertainment, but sadly, there was a fire that swept through Charleston French Quarter, and the theatre was pretty much destroyed.
Damn.
In 1809, a hotel was built on the same site, and then in 1935, the building was converted into the current Dock Street Theatre. But it seems that the souls of the theatre goers from the original building were still trapped there.
That'd be interesting if there was actually spooky going on when it was a hotel for that short amount of time, and then everything, would it actually, or the spookiness start when they've actually put another theatre on there that actually, the ghosts are connected?
No, we don't need the theatre. Yeah, maybe the ghosts were there when it was the hotel, but
or maybe
knows?
Not, and that'd be a bit more interesting.
The saddest part of it is that the ghosts there, you'd think that they were happy chilling in a theatre and living there, but the spirits apparently more often than not standing staring out of the windows looking really sad.
Because they can't leave, can they?
Like,
I mean, it's work, innit? I mean, I do work all the time now.
You'd be sad too if you had to see the shocking performance of Macbeth I've seen them do a bajillion times over.
Or maybe...
Oh, you're not allowed to say that, are you? The Scottish play.
Yeah. Or maybe...
15 times a week.
That's their performance, looking dreary and that.
Maybe that's what they were extras.
Deal going on. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you never know. We'll
it is a
get someone in there to have
It is a theatre, so potentially someone's done a bit of a marketing ploy there and hired actors to stand in the windows looking morbid and ghostly.
Or even employed the ghost.
Maybe. Got a deal going.
Yeah.
Basically, I've got another one coming out of Carolina, which is
it's a
the
busy
old
place,
Charleston jail, city jail.
Oh, you got to have a jail one, haven't you?
Yeah,
really?
well, the old city jail was used from 1802
Oh, that's
to
a long time.
1939. Over the years, it had obviously many terrible things taking place there,
As you would.
leaving many restless spirits behind.
Therefore.
It's a popular location for ghost hunts and many shows like Ghost Adventure and the other ones, the main ones, Most Haunted, and all them have been filmed there. Currently, the old Charleston City Jail is being remodeled to make it safer for visitors, but you'd prefer to see the prison area because apparently that's the bit that's
the most haunted. Oh,
so yeah, that's this
spooky.
week. That's this week's What's Fucked Up Where You're From.
And it is fucked up.
Thank you. I mean,
you've
clowns.
done a good job there.
Those clowns knocking about. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I remember a lot of people scared over that.
If you've got a weird thing or strange happenings or kind of just
weird shit going around your area, or even legends or stories of what stuff has gone on around your area,
then get in touch. Send us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com and we could be featuring your town on the show. Moving on, we have got this week's main topic, and it is a good one because we say I in fact like the kind of ancient sort of stories, these sort of mysteries that have been going on for years and nobody can quite work out what's going on.
And there seems to be a lot more coming out as time goes by at the minute, and it seems to change.
Do you think that's because these stories they have been in existence, but because of the internet and stuff, that it gets kind of advertised more? Not advertised, but kind of circulates more. Whereas, we find this story, and then somebody else makes a video, and then. I'm not saying we originate these stories, because more often than not we're doing the same thing. We're just kind of like...
we're pressing on the info, man.
Yeah, we're finding a cool story and we're going with it. But the fact is, before this information was so readily available and free to kind of access, there was privy to maybe one or two people, weren't it? I mean, depending on who knew what they were looking for, then... these things could be lost in time forever.
Oh yeah, well, surprisingly, there is a lot more places that haven't been
discovered
found.
Yet.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of people out there.
It's like that,
especially with the time with the internet and people want to go out.
I think that's the thing, because a lot of people kind of were under the impression that
that we've all done it, we found
it's all been
found,
really, and it's like
even the sea's like
it's like that in the Truman Show when he says, "I want to be I want to be like the Great Magellan and be an explorer," and she says to him, "Well, there's nothing left to explore. It's all been discovered." And it's like, that's not true.
That is totally not true. I must admit that you do have to worry about the dangers around the world, especially at the minute. That is an aspect that you got to think about if you consider doing it. I mean, if I had the money, there's a number of places I'd love to just try and see because I've something's happened there, or like there's a picture going
what about
this is a
malaria
UFO
and all that sort of stuff? I mean,
well,
would you be
I'd take the chance, to be honest.
Would you not take the jabs? Would you not be up for, I mean, obviously, would you go for those jabs?
Totally, yeah.
Well, moving into the story, because this is a strange and fascinating tale, which is a bit of a kind of an undiscovered sort of mystery. It all starts with a chap called Father Crespin, or Crespi.
Yes.
Who lived as a monk in Ecuador. He was an interesting chap, and he basically was the start of a bigger ongoing mystery. You can find information about it all over the place from many sources. And before his death in 1982, he was the custodian and curator of a big collection. The Crespi collection was various artifacts collected for him by local Indians and South and Central American inhabitants.
Italian, weren't they?
These artifacts were said to be discovered and brought back from a subterranean tunnel system hidden deep in the jungle. So... a lot of these kind of,
tribes.
But it was weird though, because what a lot of these sort of artifacts, were depictions of like the all-seeing eye, statues of insects and people. He also had,
Symbols that haven't been seen before as well.
Well, it was strange because a lot of them had elements of like almost glow in the dark elements. Do you know, like certain reacted elements in there that would only be visible under black light, right? So he's able to kind of. They're able to kind of find things, kind of stuff, find things in these artifacts that really, it's like, how did they even know to do that? It was so kind of, so even in just these tablets, they're showing capabilities, do you know, of whoever this civilization was that created these artifacts.
Yeah, if it was.
Now, all these artifacts were coming from quite a lot of different places, but this guy, Crispy, was so one of the guys in the know here, weren't he? I mean, he obviously knew to an extent where a lot of these artifacts were coming from.
Yeah, well, if you get gifted gold-plated, sheets and, like, little trinkets here and there, but they're like, solid gold,
well,
then, after a while you're going to ask questions and try and, find out where this tribe's actually getting
this is the thing, you see, because a lot of the artifacts didn't seem to have any similarities or any sort of, similarities with any indigenous tribes on record, either in the recorded history or anywhere.
Past, there's nothing.
They almost looked Babylonian, if you like.
Almost.
Do you know what I mean? So there was no sort of indication that they were from any local tribes or indigenous tribes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of difficult. So it was like they were unique, if you like. They were unique. So it was like you would obviously start to research these artifacts and be like, where have these come from? So I'm not sure, right? Now think of it. So think of it this way: they're looking for this place, this lost treasure,
library of the world,
a metal library, right? Now, thinking about if you were actually moving all this cargo into this cave system. Right, potentially bits and pieces are going to get lost, fall out your wagon. You're in a jungle.
To be honest, I'd say they'd made it in there.
Do you think that I would have brought the material there out? Yeah, or that they just found bits and pieces scattered around the jungle and were able to kind of recover pieces of it at this point, but weren't able to find the actual site.
Tribe finding bits and pieces.
Well, why don't they just fucking go to the tribe and say, can you show us where you got this from, rather than... And
because
I'm sure
they're the
Crespi
protectors. I would imagine they're the protectors, to be honest. Yeah, because that's seems to be the what happens around the world in same
that's true, actually,
circumstances,
isn't
that
it?
you have a guardian of a village or two.
Unfortunately, many of Father Crespi's artifacts were destroyed in a fire in 1962, or basically where they were being housed in a church.
Yeah.
The church itself was being restored at one point, and a lot of items were lost there as well. And they reckon that most of them ended up with treasure hunters after Father Crespi passed away. The remains of most of his artifacts are now, or the original collection, were basically stored away. They've been put in private collections, or Or
was it agreeable? Maybe even people from the tribes that wanted to take it back because they give it the father. And I can
imagine a lot of it went on the black market, to be honest. It probably got in the hands of private collectors. They say that some of them are still stored in the cellar in the archives of the church, Church Marie Alexandros.
Well, they could be stored in different amount of museums because they have a lot of stuff there to like go through, and there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been through. You know what I mean? So,
well, the most well-known pieces are tablets. Yeah, they're made up of silver, gold, platinum, and other alloys, with unknown lettering and mysterious symbols all across them. Yeah. Crespin claimed that they were removed from the metal library, which was hidden deep in the jungles in the vast underground cave systems of Uruguay. Mm-hmm. It's a bit of a bold claim, but since nobody had actually been down there to prove him wrong, they couldn't really say. So in 1973, Eric von Danank, I knew I was going to mess this up.
Yeah, Eric.
Eric von Danken, I think.
Duncan.
Duncan,
Duncan.
Van Duncan. Yeah.
donkey.
He was notably known for the Chariots of the God book.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he was already kind of in the public media spotlight, if you like, for that sort of.
He's a grade C or something.
Yeah. Eric von Danken. Yeah, I did actually kind of look. I tried to pronounce his name before, but do you know what? You do get swept up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Complicated names, some of these as well.
Well, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of mad names in this one. So basically, he was known for the authorship of Chariot of the Gods, and following the success of that, he claimed that he'd actually entered the gigantic subterranean tunnel system in Ecuador. Which was apparently to span the continent, right? So it's a vast network of tunnels.
Yeah. I mean, hundreds of miles.
Now, the structure itself was believed to house a library of books, which were all made out of metal. This was an area where today there'd be nothing but sort of primitive Indian tribes with no written language. Yeah, in the middle of Ecuador. Right. So the idea that a civilization was in the area that was so advanced that it could create and produce this language, these signs of civilization and technology, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not necessarily just the books that were found there. I mean, the archways and like it was halfway being designed to be like some kind of temple. I don't know if they stopped for a reason or it's over time that it's actually eroded, but there is definitely human aspects of digging out, and these are mass.
Oh, no, there's more than that evidence. I mean, there's literally right angles in there. There's so much evidence of human excavation in the tunnels that you can't deny it. I mean, some of the surfaces are so polished that it
actually works with the sun when it shines at a certain degree.
I mean, we'll get into a bit of that a bit later on. So Dankin, he became convinced that this was surely evidence of ancient civilizations or an ancient, more advanced than we realised, if not extraterrestrial. So the evidence of a lost civilization, well, it was a major claim, do you know what I mean? And it's not like unchallenged, do you know? There's a lot of people who've kind of challenged the idea of a lost civilization, or even the fact that there was a metal library in the slightest.
They just had no luck.
Sorry?
They just had no luck.
Well, there was a chap called, what was he called? I'm terrible with names. Janos Maurice, Moric, I think it was. He was a Hungarian entrepreneur who claimed that he'd actually discovered the series of tunnels in Ecuador, connected to the metal library. So he'd basically secured all the sort of
the rights
to it. He'd gone to the Ecuadorian president and said, I won't mind doing an expedition in there, and I brought this to you. Can I have exclusivity and exclusive rights to the anything we find and the rights to explore it? So they was given the go ahead with that, and obviously they were able to go forward and try and have a bit of a look. There was they were kind of trying to pull something together to go as soon as possible, but it was in 1972 when Moritz met von Danick that he told him that he could get him access and take him down there, and there was a secret side entrance which he thought could gain entrance to the larger halls within the labyrinth. So apparently von Danick never actually seen the library himself, just a tunnel system that wasn't even actually connected to the main tunnels themselves.
Right, okay, this is not
so he'd not really seen anything, know, and he included the events in his book, the Gold of the Gods.
Yes.
So, there was a lot of kind of, well, yes, she did go to Ecuador. Yes, she did go in some caves. But were they the caves that were supposedly where the entrance to this book, metal library was? Or were it just kind of you've just been led up the garden path?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then by coming back and saying I've been there, I've seen it, is a bit kind of a stretch. Do you know what I mean? So you know, Basically, he said that the passages were all perfect right angles, and sometimes they narrowed and sometimes they were wide. The walls were all smooth and often polished. The ceilings were flat, and at times they looked like they were covered in some sort of glaze.
Yeah.
So he said, he had his doubts that they were a natural formation anyway. So, and obviously it was a definite man-made structure.
It couldn't be natural. There's no possible way to.
But it was the idea that this was such a feat of engineering, and it stretched for hundreds of miles across Ecuador and Peru.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have the technology to do such a thing?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, they're starting to recognise that there might have been a city of 20 million people around there now. They're looking at it slightly differently at the minute. Scientists used
How do you mean?
Well, scientists used to looking at the area until crops were the jungle was being taken down and used for growing crops and farming. You didn't end up seeing, like, they've got these squares and then a circle in the middle. They've got designs on the floor that scientists thought they were like, for forts and stuff like that, but now they've got another realisation that it was actually for something else, but they shouldn't even have
So what, is this
had them
after,
kind
like,
of designs.
radar and lidar and stuff like that? They're able to see these impressions.
Now they're using more radar so they don't, interrupt, and they reckon that there is a massive city under there. And a population.
Like I said, it's
of
still
about
more
20
to be
million.
discovered.
A lot more. Yeah.
Well, obviously there was a bit of a media hype about the whole, with him saying that he'd actually been to these caves and he could witness it himself. But however, obviously when a publication from Germany interviewed Morez, who denied ever having been to the caves with him, he basically ruined his credibility and said that he, kind of called him out, called him a liar. Ooh. Yeah, so
he was telling the truth.
Yeah, Von Dankin or whatever he was fucking called. His career was bit in ruins, to be honest.
I would have thought so. Yeah, it seems he'd been bigging it up for a big while, and then all of a sudden he gets a slap in the chest.
So he says that he'd never been to the caves, but he wasn't specifically telling a lie because he took him to a cave. It wasn't necessarily the cave. Yeah. So there was obviously several kind of things wrong with his story. First, Morris merely denied ever taking him, and then the network basically denied, but he also said that he didn't deny, he just basically said it was there.
But then could have him been stopping, he was saying that he didn't take him to the cave because they're trying to, because we all know when we find somewhere, it ends up being, a place for travellers to go. And
it's like YouTube at the minute, isn't it? It's like you kind of you go on YouTube and you find an abandoned building or like one of these an undisturbed location.
Yeah,
you make a video of it and suddenly everybody wants to venture out there, and then you've
like
got literally the place is a wreck.
Yeah.
So there was one in particular that I remember that was on YouTube. Here in the UK, it was the Underground Ballroom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you look into it, it's quite a fascinating story, but itself. But the owner built a ballroom or a smoking room or a den underneath a lake. Yeah,
I remember you telling me.
There was a bit of a kind of a thing for it where people were trying to get in, or they were being chased off with shotguns because they were trespassing. But obviously, you want to keep these places a secret.
Yeah,
and I understand
you've got people
that.
who want to nick the gold and, are doing it for, not for humanity, but for, the riches of what's there and what it's worth.
Well, like I say, he didn't deny the existence of the network. And when he was probed further by the media, he said, how did you discover it, the Metal Library? And he said, somebody took me there.
Yeah.
He said, who was your guide? He says, well, I can't tell you. So, obviously it comes back to him being, just saying I've been, you just got to trust me. He actually said that he wrote his initials on several of the books
So we can't find out until we actually
get
find
there
it.
to prove that he actually
So
said
maybe
that
in
he has
50, 60
actually
years,
been.
yeah.
So it's like, it's like I couldn't bring anything out because it was just me on my own, or with me and this guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, leave it.
Not a single trinket. I would
just as proof. But
even
he
if it
says that
fucking
he
killed
wrote his
me getting
initials on several books just to say that when people do get in, they can go, yeah, he wasn't bullshitting.
So then it's the bet, is he put it on there or not?
So, he said that he was there and he was guarded by a tribe. So, like you were right, yeah. So he was guarded by a tribe and, it was, didn't want to be disturbed. So in short, Moritz claimed that von Dansky hadn't discovered the caves and that he showed these to him. That he had discovered the caves. Yeah, and he'd shown them to him, yeah. Now he's claiming that he'd seen the caves and he was led there by a guide who he couldn't identify. So, it's like there's a lot of claims and nothing's coming of it yet, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to give your information out frilly-nilly, you know what I mean? Like what we've been saying, like letting other people find out about the area. Oh, there's treasure there, right? I'm going in there, I'm going to fucking dig a hole or whatever.
So how did Neil Armstrong, start getting involved?
Yes.
I mean, one giant step and all that.
Oh, yeah, that's a big step now.
Well, by 1975, obviously Van Dansky's career had already been killed, and one of the most notorious authors. So who else would want to get involved with this tale? Well, obviously Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon. So he wanted to try and find out stuff. I don't understand why exactly he wanted to get involved with this.
I think it was the incitement of it's interesting story.
It's a mission. It's an adventure, isn't it? I suppose. I mean, but you've gone from being an astronaut going up to visiting.
Yeah, imagine.
I suppose to a Scotsman, it was another world in itself. Ecuador, being out in the jungle, it's like another planet itself.
It was a challenge for him as well because he was an engineer. So you know what I mean. Engineers like challenges.
Well, there's a lot of people who think that he had a bit more to do with an alien angle.
To be honest. Well, he did go after all this. He did go really quiet, and he was a quiet person anyway. But I don't know. There's some aspects of some of his speeches that he come out with in the 90s.
But this is the thing though, because
say something to it.
Yeah, but this is why. I mean, he basically after he come back from the moon, he was virtually a recluse. It was like when he did come out and say anything, it was all a bit weird. And he's even kind of said stuff about
PTSD that some
about
of friends suggested
things coming out in the future, and I think he's kind of like really kind of mortified by this whole thing. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of videos. If you do search for Neil Armstrong aliens or whatever, you will find a lot of videos where he's acting very suspicious under the topic. But. Maybe we're going to go into this because there's a bit of a connection there with the moon landing and aliens and stuff like that. But going back to how this new mission to Ecuador with Neil started up, a chap called Stan Hall, who read von Dansky's book, he basically befriended Moraz and later basically wanted to set up an expedition. He got permission to, get everything going. And he wanted to kind of set together, it was an Ecuadorian / British excursion out there. So now we got the British government involved now.
Even ex-SAS and Marines were
so
involved.
It makes me wonder why they were so kind of adamant that they wanted to. It's weird. It's like this is the same argument we have when we ask about Antarctica, when it was like when you've got joint governments all taking an interest in an area,
in one little area,
and then going, but there's nothing to see here. Do you know what I mean?
So then fucking show us, get a camera. Mind you, if they had a camera, they'd probably fucking fake. It'd be in the fucking Hollywood studio somewhere, probably.
Yeah. So, like I say, I mean, he basically confessed to Hall that had basically only seen a side shoot of a tunnel that wasn't really the legit stuff. And actually, nobody had actually been in there apart from Morez back in 1969. When he ventured into the Cueva de los Teos entrance to the caves, which Morris identified led to the metal library. But in 1969, the metal library had been not being uncovered, so Hall decided to set up this joint expedition between the UK or British and Ecuadorian embassies. Right. So the original mission was supposed to take place in 1977, but actually took place in 1976.
Brilliant year, absolutely mint year that year was.
Why was that?
Because I was born that year.
Was that the year you were
born? That was
born?
the year I was created and put on this earth to kick ass.
So, they basically went out there and they were going to go and try and find this
lost
library.
Which you would if you had the capability.
So, I mean, obviously, I'm assuming Danskin was probably watching. Yeah, well, because obviously he's been,
into it since he's known about it.
Yeah, and Hall was apparently about to endorse Morez's claims, which obviously left Dan's feeling a bit wary about Hall.
Yeah, well, I suppose you would.
So Hall, anyway, he wanted to create... He didn't want to go there looking for the treasure to bring it out anyway. This is the point, right? So they went on a reconnaissance mission. This is what it was. It was treasure seeking, yeah? There wasn't any of that, yeah? The treasure seeking, there wasn't any, right? They wanted to check out the caves. It was more of an expedition than a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
So they said, right?
But it went a long way.
I'm sure they did, mate. These, like I say, these tunnels went for miles, right?
They had to stop.
There's a lot of photographs of them. In fact, Neil Armstrong as well, just on this expedition, and they're chilling, looking at these massive big stalactites and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And the expedition did cover a lot of miles, obviously. Now, it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? Because what was you telling me? You were saying that he was being airlifted out.
Oh, yeah. Neil Armstrong got lifted out every night, but apart from one night. One night, the weather was so bad that the helicopter couldn't come pick him up. So he had to stay in the camp for the night. But then that day, he'd sat down and everyone's sat down. As soon as he sat down, he looked up at the moon and he said, That looks like when I went to the moon. That looks a spitting image of the time.
He sounds like Howard out of Big Bang Theory, or I went to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, mate.
Apparently, everyone was so in awe they didn't actually listen to what he actually said. And
do you know what? It just reminds me of Bear Grylls, because he does that, doesn't he? Gets airlifted out to a whole 5-star hotel after every
you can't
night.
Stay overnight, can you? Nice, cold with the.
Well, I think the only reason why they brought him along was they really wanted a figurehead for the exhibition to give it a bit more media attention.
Yeah, but I think he may have wanted to go with the alien part. I think he wanted.
Well, no, they actually wanted to go with Prince Charles.
Charlie?
Yeah, that's who they wanted to figurehead the expedition, because he's got a degree in archaeology. And it was proposed, but they knew Neil Armstrong had a Scottish connection, so they basically got in contact with.
I think they had the better choice.
Yeah, so I think it was his mother who was Scottish. So so he was an honorary citizen. That's why I say he was a Scotsman. Yeah. So he basically went up instead, right? Now the weird thing is, right, Neil, when he was on the moon, there was some sort of kind of what? How would you describe it? A kerfuffle. A kerfuffle, a bit of something happening. Something happened, didn't there?
A supposed 2-minute private chat with the medical side of it, because basically when the information was being brought back, it went to Australia before it actually went to America. So, and there was there's a switch just in case they have a medical problem and they want to ask the doctor something. And apparently there was I think there was seven 7 or 8 people who'd actually been recording at the time, and they actually caught the recording of it.
I've got some of the recording of Neil when he landed.
Yeah.
Here, we're going to play it. So we'll get that on. Hang on.
Listen to the fella.
Step off the limb. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Oh, that looks beautiful from radio. It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here. Affirmative. We have it. What is it? We have some explanation for that. We have none. Don't worry. Continue your program. Oh boy, it's really something that was fantastic here. You couldn't ever imagine this. Roger, we know about that. Could you go the other way? Go back the other way. Well, this guy ridge, pretty spectacular. God, what is that there? That's hollow. What the hell is that? No, tango. There's kind of light there now. Roger, we got it. We marked it. Loose communication. Bravo Tango. Select Jezebel. Yeah.
Jezebel,
yeah.
I don't know. Is that legit? I mean, they were basically there was a break in silence in the radio, and they were basically saying that they were seeing something in the crater. There was reports of about a few separate what was it, spacecraft?
Yeah, was it? I believe about 7 or 9 sitting on the ridge.
Sitting on the ridge,
and supposedly some aliens or something out there was watching him. But there's always been the question: 2 items that went to the moon were a plaque and also a dove with the peace symbol underneath, which was left there.
Right, okay.
And it was said that we were told to get the hell off there and don't come back, and that's why we haven't gone back.
Kicked off the moon. Well, this is it. Although the audio transmissions are very poor quality, it could be still made out that Neil Armstrong expressed his surprise at spotting the light on the rim of one of the lunar craters. And when Mission Control requested more information on it, the transmission went dead and then came back on a 2-minute gap, I think. It was between 1 and 2 minutes. As NASA's sources basically tried to check out what was going on.
Checked out
they were a bit baffled by it. Armstrong apparently spotted a spacecraft on the moon's surface, and he exclaimed, "What is that? That's all I want to know." And then he added that the object was huge and said it was complete. What was it? He said it was complete with... Oh, I don't know. He was saying that there was just basically a big spacecraft there. So
and there's always been a weird thing as well with Buzz as well, Mr. Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear, right? Okay.
Because he has come out with it. I think a couple of times on an interview in the younger days where he said, there was something strange, blah blah, this that and the other. But if you ask him now, it seems to be no such thing. That's all bull. But you've got a lot of astronauts. I mean, majority of astronauts plus cosmonauts and every other space country that's gone up with some kind of there's some kind of weirdness going out.
Well, he said confidently that there was a spaceship there, and he said that they're on the moon now. They're watching us.
Yeah,
which is cool. I mean, I heard that, and I've heard that for a long time. Do you know, in conspiracy theory terms. Even during the journey from Earth to the moon, Apollo 11 basically said that they were accompanied by strange lights
I believe
which
Michael
they couldn't
Collins
identify, and the astronauts even said that they were getting that sort of vibe, that they were being watched all the way through the mission.
I believe Michael Collins, who was the astronaut who was actually in the space capsule orbiting the moon at the time, I believe there was a couple of issues that he spotted. There was a couple of things that he thought was a bit odd.
Right,
down
okay.
there. Yeah.
Well, on the 3rd of August 1976, when the expedition was coming to a bit of a close, it was winding down, Armstrong apparently, by accident, just stumbled across what they believed to be the metal library.
Right, okay, yeah.
So, they've been doing this expedition. It's miles and miles and miles long.
Oh, yeah.
I can just imagine Armstrong going, I'm just going for a slash.
Yeah, and he's
just went through a different tunnel and found
found
stuff.
Come across it.
Yeah, jammy bastard.
Well,
what can
I
you
suppose
say?
the others haven't. I mean, I suppose it's been hidden, and it's hidden in a well place.
Well, I mean, had they found the library, it would have been a massive discovery. But what they found was a number of historical artifacts, around 400 new plant species on the journey, as well as a burial chamber inside the cave, which was sealed with a body inside.
Yeah.
The chamber was also dated at 1500 BC, and it was believed to be the same time. Believed at one time, like you were saying earlier, that when the summer solstice hit, it illuminated the tomb. Yeah. So they had found something pretty spectacular. Whether it was the metal library or not,
and the technique
remained to be seen, really, wasn't it?
Special technique that only they have used it in the past, but not like in the way that these seem to be doing it. You know what I mean? It seems to be, that next step up on the shininess or the quality of being able to make this wall like shine at certain times.
Well, like I said earlier, though, Maurez, who was the original storyteller, if you like, he basically did say that he was shown by someone, and he was a bit kind of dubious to kind of put up the name of the guy.
That's right.
But Hall, he was adamant he wanted to find out. He's kind of done his own investigation, and he's ended up finding the third man involved. Yeah. So there's another name that I'm going to have troubles with. Pentronio.
Patrol.
Yeah. So is it Jamrolio Petrolio? Jamroli Polio.
PJ.
We'll call him PJ. Yeah. So Maurez died in February 1991, but Hall said that he had a telephone conversation with him, and he gave him some information and all that. But one name that kept coming up to Hall a lot was PJ, right. And PJ, he's kind of like even way back to 1975. Yeah, he could have sat with him and chat with him and all the rest of it. Now he said that he was the guy who took Maurez in originally. So it was he basically says that there was history there about how the Hungarian people have been the root of mostly every civilization through that sort of era. Do you know what I mean?
All right, okay.
But obviously there's still no evidence for that, and whether that's goes, was.
But there must be a reason why he believes that. There must be something that he's spotted that's gone. Well, actually, that might join with that, even though it might not be true. But unless you find out the truth, it's a possibility.
Well, PJ ended up becoming good friends with Hall. They, kind of
chatted for a long time.
Got on to, they kind of carried on researching into it. Whether they actually went in and he showed him. I believe
they wanted to.
Well, you'd think if he knew where it was and he was the guide, he'd be able to show Hall.
Apparently there was plans until
I reckon
PJ's
he did.
Death.
I reckon he was like, look, we can show you, but you're not allowed to touch.
Yeah. I mean, because don't forget, this would have been if you think about it in PJ's way of protecting the area as well, I got to get to know this person. What does he want? What does he want with all this? He want all the riches and, bugger off and, ruin the area? Or is he coming in and going, you know what?
I think it was just the idea that it was a protected site, and he respected that. And I think PJ definitely respected that, and didn't want to, interrupt. I think he entered the cave system at least once, and after that occasion, he saw the library consisting of thousands of large metal books stacked on shelves, each with an average weight of about 20 kilograms. So obviously trying to lug them out.
And don't forget, it was 130 feet down. So he'd have to lug that right up.
Each page was impressed on one side with fantastic,
fantastic graphics
and designs and written inscriptions
that you don't see.
So it was quite an interesting one. That. What do you think? Do you think there is an alien connection? Do you think that this text, these metal books contain something like really fantastic, like ancient alien text, or is it like, because this is the thing, the area's never been known for any civilizations.
Science has basically left it. It's like the size of India, and they've just basically left it and gone like, well, it's green area, nothing.
It doesn't seem to have been anything there that suggests that there was anything worth looking at, was there?
Well, because the plant life there was basically the majority of it is a plantation plant.
Well, they found
so that means someone had to be there.
Species on that trip.
Eh?
They catalogued 400 new species of plant life on that trip.
And I reckon...
So it wasn't a waste.
That's true, because in the Amazon, by a kilometre, you can get thousands of different even species that we haven't even seen today. It is so vast, but then you've got to ask, are we going to cut it down? If we do find a load of stuff down there, are we going to cut it down?
We don't have to. It's underground. It's in a cave system. You don't need to
hopefully
affect the
but some areas they'd be like, well, we need to bring some diggers in here.
They always bring the diggers in, don't they?
Let's build a hotel here so we can get, our builders.
Looking forward to Oak Island this year, because they're getting the diggers in.
Oh, yeah.
Finally. It was like, they shouldn't get the diggers in, but get the diggers in.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the alien connection then? Do you think, why would you, do you think it was just a coincidence that Armstrong wanted to get involved with another mission and another sort of adventure? Or is it more plausible that he went there looking for answers? Alien answers, that is.
Supposedly aliens are telepathic now. Could the aliens have told him something when he had that 2-minute break?
These modern aliens, they come telepathic. New alien in a box now with telepathy.
I think even if it's just a little bit, his interest that the alien was possibly involved, because it's a site that it's like El Dorado. You know what I mean? Is it a city this could be El Dorado for all we know?
Yeah, it could be, actually.
You know what I mean? And it's a case of...
Lovely place, terrible TV show.
Oh, yeah, reception's... it's terrible.
No, I mean, did you never watch the soap?
I did, I
never watched it, but that was terrible.
I did, I watched it from the start, mate.
Was you a fan?
I watched it. No, I wasn't a fan. I watched it to see what it was like, the first series. And then it was no second series.
No wonder why.
It had poor stats. You'd be lucky if one person watched it.
Yeah, well, it was you. You watched it.
Well, yeah, true.
There you go. They were lucky you watched it. You're saying that, forget the television show. What we're talking about is, the actual...
I think we need more information. We need
the City of Gold.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's a year ago, a group had found a cave entrance and gone in and seemed to have said that they found a library with thousands of books, silver, and then they've got a list of stuff that they wrote down on what was in there, and it seems individual panels with written and symbols in gold.
Yeah, but they said that they got samples, but as of yet, nothing's actually been put out into the sort of medical journals or archaeology journals or anything like that. Nothing's been sort of bang on 100%.
Oh yeah,
right? It's all a bit of hearsay. I think there was one radio show where they went on.
Yeah, that was it. This is where all this information.
They said, we found the library, but then there's literally been no evidence to suggest that they have
Well, they've said
So-
they've taken one plaque and several little small items.
I hope they have, and I hope this
I do.
leads to a more thorough investigation and more significant finds.
They also said there was 3 other doors
Right.
along with this in this chamber. So could there be 3 more, which makes it even
Well,
more
there is actually
larger?
theories to suggest that there is another library, 2 libraries, in fact. And I mean, Neil Armstrong seemed to have found something. I
Oh,
mean, what
yeah.
was it he found? Found a
changed it.
crypt with some artifacts in there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
jewels
say
and
that it was the library, but I mean, they did seem to find stuff. I mean, thinking about it though, how many natives would have used those cave systems over the years, just for many reasons?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think with the alien thing as well, like you say, I mean, do you think Neil was just kind of interested, or like he
think-
actually had something to kind
I
of
think he
ponder
had
there?
I think he had something to ponder, and I've been offered this opportunity. There might be something in it with what I've already seen.
Now,
one
one thing I noticed about the descriptions of like the cave systems and stuff like that. Now they were talking about the surfaces. Now, one thing I've noticed in all the sort of stories we've covered is the descriptions of the tombs or crypts that these supposed aliens have been buried in. Are very similar. Polished glass surfaces, a lot of like right angles. It's blatantly man-made. A crypt.
Well, specially man-made.
Now, who's to say that crypt that they found was a human crypt and wasn't, like the one in
I would've took a toe or something.
Tarashima, the Tarashima Hall. There was supposedly a similar setup in there. There's been
supposedly underneath the Sphinx as
The
well. There
Sphinx,
was one behind there as well. There was there's been quite a few, but a lot of archaeology of like
it's very Indiana
finding-
Jones.
It is, but a lot of it I think's been like hidden, if you like not to be brought out
Suppressed.
until definitely suppressed.
Well, there's a lot of things like that, isn't there, where they think, well, and one discovery could totally upset like
the whole world,
rock the boat, if you like, and be like, well, it upset a lot of people's beliefs in one foul swoop, and it's like, well, is it worth just letting people think what they think, because it's safer, because it's if they're happy believing what they believe in, is it worth upsetting those people by just bringing out this one bit of information that totally disproves them? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
or is
I
it
suppose
easier
it's
just to let
individualised,
sleeping dogs lie, if you like?
Yeah, but if you want to know the truth, you should be able
I
to
think you
turn
should be
around
able
and
to find it, and I think it shouldn't be suppressed from you. But as a world leader or a government or whatever, where you think, wow, the repercussions of this could be catastrophic.
Well, there is
what
that.
do we do? And it's down to look who's running the fucking country, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Do you trust these guys to make a fucking
they're all muppets, mate, at the
legitimate
moment.
decision?
Yeah.
Then it's like, well,
Can't get
then you've
it
got a
through,
board
bro.
of people going, what do we do with this life-changing information?
They're all
we'll
joining together.
We'll just sit on it. We'll just put it in the book of secrets or whatever, and we'll let someone else deal with it.
Well, this seems to be the one that, we know this, we can't do anything about it, we're not going to rock the boat, so we're going to pass it on to the next one, and then next one.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, it's going to have to break.
That's why
and then
bloody
it
what's
worse.
been going on in Iraq's lasted so long.
Well, that's
anyway,
true. Well, at the same time, though, there was a coup. There was a coup at the same time as they went in. It was a bit dangerous, especially like the snakes as well. They were in the Amazon. So I mean, it was like, at the end of the day, it was going to be a lot of trench foot.
Literally every animal there could kill you.
Yeah,
you've got just literally plants that can kill you, as well as going blindly walking into miles and miles of caves. That you don't know what's in there.
Yeah.
So
I think the funniest part on it was they made a makeshift toilet that went off like this 60-foot ledge, and one of the crew actually
Don't
went
tell
for
me
a
they
poo,
fell
and
through.
they went through it and fell about 19 feet, something like that. They were all right, but he was full of poo.
Well, he was covered in poo.
Yeah, so
There you go.
I bet he wished it.
Well, it's an
it was
interesting
raining.
story. I mean, like, there's a lot involved
Yeah,
in it. I
yeah.
mean, to be honest, it was. I was kind of getting like, it's one of those. It's like he told me that there's the thing down here, but I've never seen it. But I've seen it. But he says he's seen it, but he's not seen it.
Well, Stanley Hill's daughter's carrying on with the
Stanley
case,
Hall.
actually.
Yeah. Stanley Hill.
Stanley Hill. Yeah,
Sounds,
no, why did
I
you
don't
say
know.
that?
Stanley Hill sounds like a location.
Yeah, it might
Just
be.
going up Stanley Hill.
Oh, it might
Going
be.
for a run up Stanley Hill.
Eleanor Hall, she's carrying on with the investigation, and she's going to try and get down there and
Cool.
work it out.
Well,
So I
we'll
think-
come with you, Eleanor.
Yeah,
Give us a
pay
shout.
for the trip. I'll come.
I'll come Ecuador. Don't want to get bit by a snake or out though. Well,
You find El Dorado, be worth it.
well, we've got. Well, that's it. That's it. For this week's topic. But if you want to get in touch, if you've got any questions, queries, or suggestions, you can just message us. You can message us on neverstraightanswer@gmail.com or hit us up on social media, and we'll discuss the show.
We will.
All day.
Yeah.
But we've got to move on now because we're running out of time. And we've got a new promo this week. Oh Snap, True Crime Podcast. A True Crime Podcast by Jennifer Snap. Support your podcasts everywhere you listen to them. You can listen to her podcast right here.
Go, girl.
Hey, it's Jennifer Snap here, host of the Oh Snap, a True Crime Podcast. In this podcast, I focus on the life and memory of the lives taken at the hands of history's most notorious murderers, as well as those lesser known to the public eye. My mission is to give the victims and their loved ones the respect they deserve. You can find Oh Snap wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget, my loves, snap out of it.
Thank you to Oh Snap for submitting a promo. You can do it too if you've got a podcast that you'd like to be featured. You can drop us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. Get a couple of
yeah,
weeks shout-outs on the podcast and a bit of something on the website too.
Oh.
So that's cool. Thank you for sending your promo. Can't get me
Nice.
bloody words out tonight.
Ooh.
So what else is there to do in the show this week, Mr.
Well,
T?
I believe it's time for the news.
It's the news. Oh yeah,
It's
this week
newsy time.
we've looked over the news for
We have.
a good 25 to 20, about
Well, I don't
26
think that-
minutes.
well,
Is
I
it
don't
25,
think-
26?
I think it was 25 and a half.
Right, okay, somewhere in between.
It was.
To
It was
find
definitely in between.
what's been going on in the world this week.
Oh,
And
yeah.
standard weird shit, to be honest. It's all good.
It is.
Pyramid. Oh no, this is something I was just looking at. That wasn't even
Oh,
news.
you're looking at the pyramids now, eh?
All over the show today, aren't I? This was
no.
the first story I saw.
Yeah.
Banksy.
Oh, the
Big fan.
great bank.
A collector buys a fake Banksy
Oh,
off the NFT website, which basically cost him $335,000.
whoa.
It was apparently a fake, and the website was hacked.
Ah,
So it was an art.
okay.
Basically, Banksy's website that sells his own art through an auction site was apparently hacked, where a piece of artwork was introduced onto the website, and a collector has paid $300,000 for it.
Right.
Banksy has since said that he's got nothing to do with the artwork nor the auction.
Oh, so he's trying to get out of payment.
Somebody's basically just swooped in to try and use Banksy's name and success to sell the piece.
But was it a Banksy's picture? Because I'm
No,
thinking.
apparently not.
Oh, right. So someone's introduced it, because I would have thought the other way would have been the hacker had been
No, so it was a chap who
properly.
was he believed it to be a genuine Banksy. He was a UK-based collector, and he trades digital collectibles.
Oh, okay.
So under the name Pranksy.
So
So he described himself as a huge fan of the street artist, and offered the equivalent of over 333,000 in
lot of
cryptocurrency
crypto.
to the enthusiast, and
can they get it
basically
back
to
then?
try and get it back.
Oh, that's going to be difficult.
So
thing.
what?
I think that's going to be difficult getting it back, because I don't know how it actually works in crypto. I mean, you're insured by bankers and companies generally, but I don't know if you are insured by crypto.
Well, I'm not sure if that was Banksy offering him the money in crypto back. Like, you know,
right. Well,
so he's
nice
you know,
of
he's
him if he
saying
did.
like, can't give you the money back, even though you've been scammed, but give it you back in crypto. I mean, he's been a victim of fraud potentially, so I don't know. Interesting story.
Oh yeah.
Anything you've seen in the week?
Yeah, interesting for
Oh, back
dolphins.
1 minute
Yeah,
quickly. Banksy has done another actual legit project.
Oh, right. What's this?
It was basically no one's allowed to go on holiday at the moment, so it's the staycation, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it's the Banksy's Great British Staycation. He's been out in a bit of a camper van spraying up the place.
Oh,
Pretty cool
man.
stuff as well, actually.
Yeah,
so
man.
there's a video on YouTube. So it's called the British Staycation Banksy. If you just go to Banksy's official YouTube page, you'll find it. It's really good.
Yeah, and they give you something to do later on if you've got nowhere to go.
It's a lot of it's by the seaside, and you were saying dolphins.
Yes.
So it reminded me. So crack on.
Yeah. Well, scientists have discovered that dolphins like to get high, and they like to get.
It's funny. There are a few animals that do this. Yeah,
Yeah.
they get drunk and get high, and they do it on purpose.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
just the humans who
Yeah,
like to get a buzz on.
Everyone's got to have a poison. If you haven't got a poison, you're a boring person.
Too right. Yeah. So go on. How? Because I mean, what I know that some animals like let fruit go a bit kind
Bit
of
off,
off,
yeah.
so it ferments, and they get drunk
Elephants,
off it. I mean, I
cheetahs
can't
and that,
see
yeah.
dolphins nipping up the beach to get a
fruit does fall in water,
Yeah, but not much of it. I mean, what are they doing to get high?
What they're doing is, surprisingly, eating puffer fish, and the toxin is
It's
really
poisonous
great
to us, isn't it?
Yeah, or highly
But
poisonous.
it gets
Yeah.
dolphins high.
Yeah, and apparently what they do is they chew it, and then they spit it out for the next dolphin to come and have a little chew, so they share it.
So they pass the puff.
Yeah, they do.
They literally pass the puff.
They do indeed.
Dolphins, you see, they are highly intelligent creatures. They know where it's at.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, they know that you've got to have
That's
something.
well interesting.
Yeah, but it's interesting how they got to find out that that it.
Well, they probably just ate one and they went, "Whoa, you
Yeah,
want to
sniffed
try
it and
this?
went, well, what's this? Let's have a little
gotta
bite."
Try this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's how we do it.
Well, that is true. That is very true.
Well, it's a bit of an animal themed news today because I've got an animal themed.
Oh, you got another
I've got
animal?
a couple of animal themed
We've got a
stories.
zoo tonight.
We've got a menagerie of animals, and this is actually a bit of Noah's Ark thing because it was twin elephants.
All right.
Yeah, twin elephants of super
Twin?
rare,
Yeah.
and
definitely.
twin elephants have
Elephants
just been
are-
born in Sri Lanka.
Whoa, mint.
Yeah,
Oh,
you never
that's
see
good,
it.
that.
So yeah, this is a bit of a kind of a rare occurrence.
I think we need to get more babies out of it.
So an elephant in Sri Lanka gave birth to twin elephants on Tuesday. It's the first time in nearly 80 years.
She must have felt heavy.
Oh,
Two
yeah.
elephants inside.
Both males, the twins,
Right.
both born 25 years ago in an basically an elephant orphanage.
Right.
That was the last time. Oh no, so what? They're 25 years old already.
Yeah, that's fast.
I was going to say they
Yeah.
can't be.
Yeah.
Oh, the mum was 25 years
Ah,
old.
right,
Yeah,
see.
so the mum was 25-year-old. He was born in an orphanage. The father, who's 17 years old, is also from an orphanage.
All right.
So they're
She was after a bit young.
orphan elephants
Yeah.
that have just been give birth to twin boys.
Let's hope the gene carries on and keep getting twins.
Twin,
'cause we
because we
as many
need more elephants.
Yeah, they
yeah,
reckon
she's
about
doing her a
7
bit,
years.
isn't she? Really?
She is. Good girl.
Yeah, good girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, thought that was quite cool. Have you
Yeah.
got any more news? I've got a couple of really shocking ones here. You're gonna love one of my stories here.
Am I?
Yeah, because you've just got that sort of mind. But yeah, I've got two. Well, we've got one more kind of story which is animal related, just cow related.
Okay, go for it. Go
Right.
for
Well, it's two stories really.
Okay, go
Yeah,
for
because
it.
like I say, animals are in the news, and we're going
are.
2 by 2.
We are.
So
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Well, you are.
We've got one cow story here where there was a cow stuck in a tree.
In a tree.
Yeah, after Hurricane Ida.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
So
that
it
had a
was
bit of a lift.
swooped up and ended up in a tree. It had to be rescued. This was in Louisiana.
Wizard of Oz or what?
This was total Wizard of Oz. It wasn't too far up the tree, but it was
Right.
stuck in a tree.
How the hell did they
it
get
was.
that down?
Gotta say, that was devastating. Just the
Yeah,
devastation it actually did.
It's appalling.
I hope everybody's cool. I hope everybody's getting, getting on and trying to bring back to some sort of normality at the moment.
They did a study and the amount of disasters happening, the safety risk of how many people,
You're not going to get insurance at one day soon. They're going to just say, nah. But too much going on.
More disasters, but there's less deaths in these disasters now
because we're so more
aware of them.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, obviously there is tragedy out there and stuff does happen. I mean, going into like the aftermath of that storm, I think even in terms of like what's happened in New York this week. The floods.
The flooding.
I mean, the problem is with that is like when there's a storm and stuff. Most people would say, go and take shelter. Now, where would people shelter? In a basement. Yeah. So if there's all this surge of flood water,
drowning,
then there's a big you'd say about people kind of not being more prepared, but in their preparation, could that not leave them at risk?
Well, yeah, I mean, for this flooding...
Well, no, I don't think anybody expected that. I think it was...
no one does.
Well, for the level it was at, I think people would have been like, shit, if that was coming, I wouldn't have gone in the basement.
Well, you'll know next time to try and get to the top floor instead of the bottom one. If there's
in
water
hindsight,
involved. Well,
obviously. Yeah. But, it's like, it is a bit one of those strange...
It's one of them we have to learn as we go along.
When you're waking up and obviously when you're finding cows in the trees and, in the garden, it's a powerful force.
Wiping my eyes.
Do you know what I'm saying? My other cow story is another flying... This is another flying cow. This is, we had the Wizard of Oz cow a second ago.
Next.
This cow was flying over. This is from a Swiss pasture.
Oh, right.
It was basically being airlifted by helicopter.
Right. It's having a day trip.
Yeah, well, no, it was basically
rescuing.
It was rescuing it apparently.
Right. So the situation's going on with the cow world this week, isn't it?
It was injured during the summer. They go up the mountains, up to the meadows.
Right, and they probably fell, broke their ankle.
So it's injured itself, and then they've had to airlift it down the mountain.
Lucky it was seen, and realistically.
There you go.
Yeah.
So give us some news, and I'll give you some rubbish news in a bit. Not rubbish news, but not cool animal news.
Yeah, I got sort of kind of rubbish news. One for England, new rules. There are new rules being put into driving.
Rules.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've seen one rule, and that's it. And that's about small cars. You've got to look after bigger cars have got to look after the smaller cars.
Well, like a Big Brother program, where it's like, come on, I'll take you under my wing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in a Cinquecento. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you know what that is, but that's a small rubbish car. Or a Fiat Panda.
Yeah, or what they call smart car.
A smart car.
Yeah, or the quite a number of companies do it now. But apparently there's 30 new rules that have been come on. I've seen none of them, and I'm taking no notice of any of them. And the reason why is because...
Go on, Clarkson.
The reason why is because they're bringing all these new rules so they can earn some more money for one.
That's why it's all about road rules and just a way of making more fines.
And the highway agency has just brought in a barrier to stop people from, if you break down, to go off to the side lane.
Yeah, the hard shoulder.
Yeah.
We had this thing in the UK. I don't know if it's the same in the States. You have a hard shoulder where if you've got an accident or you break down for any reason, you can pull off to the side safely. You're not interfering with other traffic. And they've got rid of those, apparently.
There's about one every mile. But then...
Well, what happens if your car just conks out?
Well, in fact, the study comes out and says that there's more people dying on the roads because of it, but the highway agency will not change the rules.
So why?
Well, this is what I want to know. They've had complaints about it plenty of times before, and including MPs have put their concerns in, and it seems that the highway agency don't really give a damn.
Serious?
It seems to be.
They must have some reason for getting rid of them. I mean, what was the rationale?
They're saying over safety, but it's more safe wherever the accident's going to be or incident that you pull over right there.
At the end of the day, a hard shoulder is a necessity for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
A, the reasons we've just said, emergencies and needing to pull over,
emergency
but
services
also
if they need it.
emergency pit stop when you need a wee really badly. Not only tiredness causes accidents, but having a squirm about in your seat because you're dying for a pee and you've only got a rest stop every so many miles, and your next hard shoulder is 1.5 miles away. It's like, Jesus.
There's not even that. The emergency services use that for when there's a car crash up front and the traffic builds up. Then the police go down there to actually get there.
So that's impeding. So it's impeding emergency services as well, isn't it? Not having a hard shoulder.
Yeah, and it's bang out of order, and they need to fucking sort themselves out. And there has been complaints about it, but until
I'm not a driver,
deaths,
so I don't ever comprehend these things. Do you know? I don't ever think to myself, the hard shoulder, and it's necessity. But obviously, now you've said it, totally agree. If you've got an issue with that, and if you've got an issue with that, come and see me. I'm saying if you've got an issue with it, let us know, because we're interested.
Or contact them and tell them sort out.
Maybe if enough people get involved and say,
well, we can bring it up in Parliament.
Can you write? but you need enough signatures.
You need 100,000.
I'm pretty sure there's enough of those on the road.
Yeah, but
enough
it's the time
signatures on the road there.
I suppose,
you know what I mean?
Someone could set up.
It's like, we want our hard shoulders back. Come and put them in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Maybe it's a thing
ridiculous.
to do with land. Maybe it's to do with widening the roads and creating more lanes.
It's all down to cheapness. That's it, because it stops them cutting down the trees as close. It stops them from paving them. It stops them from making sure there are blockages and stuff like that. It's all to do with money, and drivers pay an absolute fortune. And I have no shadow of a doubt that within the next couple of months, we're going to start getting more like on fuel, on tax, on insurance, on extra money for your tyre and stuff like that. It's getting to a point where I'm looking at stopping driving.
Well,
it's getting
there
that
you go.
bad, man.
Well, this man should stop driving. I've got this story. This is a crazy. You're going to love this story.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So this is a story about a man who cut off his own penis and threw it out of a car window during a police chase. Yeah. So this guy should totally give up driving. The man who cut off his own penis and threw it out the car window during a police chase claimed that he was hearing voices on the radio that told him his actions would save the world.
Yeah, it's John Wayne Bobbitt who was in his ear. Cut off your clock and you'd be
I know, it was sweet. I've been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I come a porn star.
John Wayne Bobbitt. The man who cut off his own penis, he threw it out of the car window, saying that he'd save the world. Tyson,
how would you save the world by throwing your cock out?
Was parked on Tennessee Highway and he'd blocked traffic. When the police arrived and attempted to pull him over, he then sped away.
Right.
When they pulled up beside him to turn on the lights to basically get him to pull over, he took off and refused to stop.
Right.
He was all over the road the whole time, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol Trooper Bobby Johnson, unfortunate, told the local station WJLE of the bizarre incident.
Johnson was in sight.
He turned off onto the old Liberty Road and came to a stop. He opened the door and he was naked and covered in blood. He then shut the door and kept driving.
What? Oh, what? So, that's some mental health there, this shit.
So the police chased him. Yeah, he's a 39-year-old. They chased him for quite a way. At some point during the chase, he basically severed his penis and threw it out the window. The Alexander Police Department spiked him on the highway and obviously made the arrest.
How's he going to relieve his pressure now? Oh my days, I can't even think of it. So
he was basically arrested and charged with several offences in Cooksville and spent
Cooksville?
Spent time
you're having a joke
in Pulnam County Jail.
Oh my.
Although that was in 2017, so he's had prior. Yeah. So obviously,
so
it was, mate, if anybody do that, I don't know why he thinks that had saved the world.
That's a scream for help and a half.
Isn't it? Just the guy looks a bit fucking pickled, to be honest. But I mean, like, pickleless.
If he hadn't had his drugs.
Pickleless, if you like.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
so
lucky he
I
didn't
thought
do his
you liked
balls
that
as well.
one. I want to know how he thought he was going to save the world.
Yeah, by throwing your cock at the copper. Hey, touch the diamond cock or whatever.
I don't know.
Weirdos, man. Weirdos.
John Wayne Bobbitt, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet he's laughing in his fucking...
If you know what we're talking about with the John Wayne Bobbitt, go on. Do you want to fill people in? Because some people might not have a clue.
I don't want to fill them in, but
they
I'll
might
tell
not
them
have
the
a clue.
story.
Tell him the story.
All right, John Wayne Bobbitt, he had an argument with his wife one night, and she basically cut off his penis, got in the car, drove down the road and threw it out the window.
That's right.
And there was a big court case about it. Actually, not that long ago.
Did he ever find it?
Yes, they did find it. He put it in ice. They took it to the hospital. He got it fixed.
Because I remember you
but
saying he became a porn star.
Yeah, it was crooked. He added a couple of more inches, and he had it like crooked, and he had one porn
and then
thing.
it really hit the spot.
Yeah.
Like, so basically he got a bit of a career out of it.
Well, yeah. Well, no, not really. It was he did one film. That was it. He did one film. He thought he was the talk of the town, and he wasn't. And then the court case, which finished a couple of years ago, which it turned out neither of them can. Basically, it's been thrown out of court because it's gone too long, and
it's just
there's
ridiculous.
Aspects of it that are just.
I mean,
ridiculous.
you'd still want some sort of retribution for cutting your penis off, but I mean, if he's kind of like, you know, being
cut
kind
her head
of
off.
No, well, he's kind of like profited out of it. You
well,
know what I mean?
he has, but
so he's probably like done him a favour, really.
Not in the long run.
Not
really.
in the long run, yeah.
Well,
not
no,
in the
I
short term. Yeah,
think
fair enough. You got a crooked penis now, but I mean,
I don't think his life went up. I think it started sloping down after. The yeah, he had.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he had a little twinge and he went down.
I found this interesting story about Satanists.
Oh, right.
Right, a bit of a weird one, really. Actually,
Okay.
this. So, this actually, you know, there's this big debate in Texas about abortion. Yeah, so
it's always on
these
the table
pro-choice
everywhere.
versus obviously people who believe that it's a sin to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's been going on for years in many different places all around the world.
Yeah,
you know,
a long time.
whether it's morally right to do it or not.
Yeah, it's a chicken and egg kind of thing.
Well, basically, this is a story about how you know, this religious group of Satanists.
Oh, right.
They're based in Salem, in Massachusetts.
Right.
They filed a letter to the U.S. Foods and Drug Administration, basically saying that their members should be allowed to take the abortion pill.
Yeah.
And they're looking at it as a faith-based right. Yeah. So it could overturn the law.
Because America's big faith in
but this isn't. It's not a case of it being a faith-based right vote for Christianity, because Christianity
it goes against it.
Well, Christianity are saying the same thing. You know, it's a faith-based thing. You shouldn't be doing it because it's a faith-based thing. Well, they're saying exactly the same thing they're saying with the opposition. Yeah. So obviously, I don't know if this kind of puts a big turn on it, but it's kind of weird that it's the Satanists that, you know, could kind of swing the vote.
Return it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I think on this subject there's going to be turns and roundabouts. It's going to be on and off for a long time until they actually settle it. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that we need to settle, and this is one that keeps constantly coming back time after time after time. So it's going to be one of them things you can't please, you know.
No,
everyone.
I think this is the thing. It all comes down to your personal beliefs, and obviously, if you know. And
this is where government should stay out their nose.
I just think having a personal belief is one thing, but imposing it on somebody else, you know.
Yeah, basically, you're forcing them to do something you
I
don't
mean, at the end of the day, but I think, like, obviously, whatever your belief system, I think.
Yeah, and every situation is different as well.
You've still got to be. I mean, I think many Christians will agree as well that it's like, you know, you don't judge people. you shouldn't be judging people. So at the end of the day, if they want to choose to do things their own way, then they should be left to it. And at the end of the day, as long as it doesn't affect you.
Yeah, but what the Christianity is saying is it's classed as a human being at a certain stage of
course,
growth.
and the baby hasn't got a choice in whether it depends. I mean, like I say, it's a really kind of touchy subject, and I don't really kind of have too much of an opinion. I sort of agree with
a time limit. There's got to be a time limit on when you can and when you can't, because things within the
when
body,
it becomes too developed.
Then I think it needs to stop before that time, at a certain time of development, which the laws do put in, but on the time limit, I can't say, because I'm not a doctor, you know what I mean? So I can't say when they should and when they shouldn't.
But I mean, obviously, the people in the know should be putting that sort of information out freely for people to research it when they need it, I suppose.
And it should be only advised by the government.
Well, it should be advised by your doctor, really. At the end of the day, it's like, if you've made the decision, you go see your doctor, then the doctor should be guiding you through that and giving you, the best advice and, support.
So, a lot of things, politics should not be involved in at all, and it should be left between the patient.
No, but this is the thing, because I understand that, but it does come into politics because it's it becomes a moral question as well, because it's like we've talked about stuff, even stuff like going way off track from this, but like computer integration. So when they say, were you able to use computer chips and upgrade a human being, or use technology to make man plus, and it's like, well, surely that'll fall into the same argument, the same moral objections, the same sort of religious beliefs, and these arguments will be coming up and being sparked and debated upon for a long time. It's going to be, if it's not this, it'll be something else, but there'll always be that argument about the human nature and the human condition versus science and using it to kind of change humanity or affect it.
But don't you think, like the Marvel and DC, and it's a time of like superheroes, don't you think, like let's say 20, 30 years down the line, that they'll be...
They're probably already working on that sort of stuff now.
Because
people want it. People want it now.
But not as many as there is now.
There's already experiments going on to enhance brain power, to expand the size of the brain, to...
And genetics has already been
I would not be surprised if I mean, look, it's in the forefront, like you've just said, with all this going on. Wouldn't you expect that there would be some sort of, kernel out there of, guy who works in research and R&D going, do you know what? No one tried that. Like, do you know what? Let's get on that.
Ahead of it.
It's like they're able to fucking whip up a vaccine in a year, supposedly.
That hasn't been tested, and they haven't got everything in.
Exactly. Virus. But it's like, if you can do that in science, and I'm assuming that you could probably give that a go. Exactly. And see what happens. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people go, you want to be a superhero? Yeah, go on then, sign me up.
Just sign this. We take all your rights away, and you do everything we say.
What is this? It just, if in case of death, in terms of when you have the injection, and it's all down to you. So so I think it's what you do. It comes down to what you do with your own body, as well as your own morals and beliefs, doesn't it? So it's a interesting.
It's a tough argument. We don't really want to get into it that much.
So have you got anything else before we move on to NASA news?
I have got a weird one. A Congresswoman from Florida has just put in a bill which has passed, which is HR 5123. Last week, which is a weird one, because it's to develop and begin using Operation Starfall. Now,
I thought you were going to say starfish then.
Oh no,
Operation Starfish. No. That sounds a bit.
I bet they've got an Operation Starfish.
That sounds pretty dark, to be honest.
It's a bit weird, because they've got to do it within 45 days. they've got a set limit of days to
What
do
is it?
The Air Force and the Space Force have to start it, and has already started it around about 7 days ago. And what it basically is Space Link, that Elon Musk and SpaceX
the satellites.
Yeah, well,
so if you don't know what Starlink is, it's basically a series of satellites to provide broadband to most remote areas of the world.
So everyone can buy a machine for £600, and you don't have to pay nothing after that. That machine is yours. All the calls are free.
It's like your router. I mean, it connects to your router, and then it's almost like an antenna.
Basically,
that picks up the signal from the Starlink and provides. It's supposed to be providing internet to, like I say, rural areas where you wouldn't normally get signal. There is an alternative to that. I've seen a project that's going on in Africa with air balloons. And it's a similar concept where it floats up into the lower atmosphere and just basically stays up there for a couple of weeks.
Well, funny enough,
go on.
That's what this program is. What it is they have to put balloons up with satellite and internet equipment that is for emergencies. This is the thing, though. It's for emergencies in case the internet in America goes down.
Oh, right. So they're doing this in the States?
Yeah, so it's a communication to go around the world. But like you said, it's set for either a couple of days or a couple of weeks, however long, because then
this was happening in Africa when I saw it, and it was a program that I assumed was a precursor to the satellites. And when I was looking at it, I was thinking, well, it's a bit outdated that now, because they've got this new Starlink, and I know the UK government's looking at one, which is a similar project.
We've actually got good development on
quite interested, because obviously it does help people get an internet connection. I mean, it's even in African towns where it's difficult to get a good education, and now they're able to kind of just whip on the internet.
There was a little issue a while ago about some people were complaining that trees were in the way in that book.
Oh yeah, no, you were complaining that there was trees in the way.
That I said, all right, I'll give it.
Yeah, you just have to. I always say you have to climb up the tree and put your antenna higher up.
Yeah, just move it. It's a movable device. You know what I mean? It's like the old brick phone ones. You could have your antenna on a mountain top as long as you got a long enough lead. Yeah, I don't even think you need an antenna.
Well, go on.
Because it's connected to it. This Starfall. It's interesting that why are they pulling this out now, and it's an emergency thing as well.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because
what's going to go on?
Look at with what's happening with Ida and this tornado. It's not electricity out in Louisiana. And they said it was a catastrophic failure, and it was going to take a few weeks to sort out. Now, that's a lot of people with no power. I mean, think about it this way, right? That is even if you've got internet service, right? Without electricity, it's useless.
Totally,
right?
Totally.
You made a good point actually about, say, if there was a big sort of EMP or something that took out the internet, there would be a whole section of the economy that would just be in tatters.
Mass ejections lately.
Well, think about all these influencers who make millions of pounds, dollars, fucking whatever, by putting themselves out there on the internet, right? Cryptocurrencies, right? I'm sure that there's backups and stuff, but if there was a catastrophic EMP and all the electricity went out, then there's no accessing it. I mean, unless you can get on a generator, but then again, the servers would be down.
And if you've got a generator, every other fucker wants that generator at the same time.
I mean, the economy would be fucked anyway. But in terms of Mr. Beast or whatever, I think he'd be done.
Yeah, well, depending how bad it is, they work out that they get it fixed and starting to run within 2 to 4 months. So that's 2 to 4 months with no electric, no one around. no safety realistically.
Well, yeah.
Apart from yourself and your yard, no one's going to come and run if you.
Well, let's face it, everyone's going to be in the same boat, and
water won't work. You know what I mean?
In case of it's a time when people should be pulling together.
Yeah,
and not resorting to
animosity
and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Idiots and greedy people out there, though, as well. You know what I mean? So, you got to take the bad with the good.
I've seen that NASA. Moving into NASA news.
Yeah.
So NASA have secured apparently a perfect sample of Mars. I know they had some trouble, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, trying to get a drill sample. Well, this is historic. It's a historic step into finding out if there was life on Mars.
Good.
I think, obviously, what I was thinking about something about Mars and the moon and stuff like that. Why there's a big race to get there and set up shop.
Yeah, by 2024.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I think now that they've discovered water on Mars and stuff, and obviously it's been known for a while that there was water there. Potentially there is more.
Yeah, and potentially we can make our own as well.
Well, it's the case of using it as fuel. Do you know what I mean? By dividing the particles and elements, like in hydrogen, getting hydrogen
that's
out
what
of the water, you can essentially make a fueling station on either Mars or the moon.
Yeah.
So I think the rush potentially could be because one of these agencies has set a deadline and said we're going to aim to get there by this date, and then every other agency has gone, shit, we need to get there sooner.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
SpaceX.
So
they would.
So I think it's a case of this deadline's just been set by one of these companies. Now, another thing that I kind of started thinking about as well was, we've talked about this in the past about how governments, by doing missions and having secrets, they're able to they do the business, but they've got a level of kind of they've got to kind of provide some sort of answers to the public, right? Yeah, to what they're doing and what they're spending the money on, and because it's government subsidised, so they need to be really on it. Yeah. Whereas companies like SpaceX or Boeing or Skunkworks or what was the other one? Lockheed. All these companies that are private companies that are subcontracted by the government, right, are able to go and do these things, build things, have secrets, that they're able to keep secret because it's trade secret,
and they've made shitloads of money. Especially
it's the idea that I can't tell you because it's like KFC's secret recipe. It's like they keep it secret because it's the bread and butter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if it was the government or NASA, you'd be like, "What are you spending that on? What's that? Why are you doing that? What's that fee?" And you basically...
And the companies don't have to sell it back to the... Don't have to give it to the NASA and anything like that.
Interesting, but like I say...
it's a weird combination, but that's how they're the ones who have taken control, and the presidents of the past have said this, that it could happen, and it bloody well has happened.
But like I say, so the Mars rover has taken a perfect sample after drilling a core and collecting it. It's going to be sent back to Earth for evaluation at some point.
Yes.
I can't wait to see how they do that, to be honest. They're going to do a drive-by, sort of drive-by pickup.
Drop it off.
It's like, chicka-chicka.
Hope it gets through the atmosphere nice and tight then.
And after 6 months, the Mars helicopter still flying, still doing well. They do good. They do well. They do good work, don't they? Do you know what I mean? If that was my drone or whatever, it would have been crashed in the dirt by now.
Well, look how far Voyager 1 has come. Voyager 1 was only ready and supposed to be out for, I think, 6 months, something like that. But look how many years it's taken. It's running on the fuel that it had as well, and it's spectacular. I mean, near enough every year I hear that it's going to run out. It's going to run out. It's nearly at its end, and it's past.
Still keeps
our
going,
solar
doesn't
system, and gone into the void, and it's giving us really spectacular data that hopefully it will help us.
Well, I don't know if one of their instruments found this. Probably did, because it's such a kind of a weird thing to discover.
All right.
Apparently, NASA have now discovered something that's neither a star nor a planet, but somewhere in between.
Ooh.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that? Some flaming,
I think it's the start of a planet being made, because a couple of weeks ago,
fusing together.
well, they'd never seen them with a moon before, and a couple of months ago they spotted one with actually a moon growing beside the planet. It's interesting. Science is coming ahead.
They're calling it the accident.
The accident.
Yeah, it's not a star, and it's not definitely a planet. And basically it's unique. NASA says the accident is like no other object in the Milky Way.
Right.
So it's a bizarre object which is neither a star nor a planet, that's rushing through the Milky Way, and it's left NASA scientists shocked and baffled. They found it by chance and have been trying to figure out what exactly it is.
Yeah.
However, first, how did they come to name it? The accident.
Yeah.
Well, it seems it was a chance encounter, an accident, if you would actually
It would have
found such a bizarre object in space.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, talking about looking out into space,
Yep.
the James Webb telescope is finally ready for launch.
They're launching it, are they?
Yeah,
now?
they are. Which
They're putting a few up, aren't they? I think there's going to be a few different telescopes for a lot of different doing a lot of different things and looking in a lot of different directions. What's this going to be primarily looking at?
Basically, it's going to be doing what Hubble's been doing.
So is this the replacement for Hubble?
Yeah, this is a replacement, and it's going to make Hubble look like
Hubble.
proper
Bubble,
inferior.
toil and trouble.
Yeah. Bubble. It can look further. It can have better quality vision.
Well, think
of
about
what's there.
how long Hubble's been up there, or been working.
Yeah.
It's like, I think, the technology differences. I mean, just the quality of the new telescope's going to be, super mint. Going to get some high def images there.
Yeah, with shadow 4K, 8K, fucking 16K. But it was actually supposed to have gone up in 1996. At a cost of 500 million.
Why the delay? I mean, it's a bit of a long gap that from trying to get it up in 1996 to now. What we're in 2021.
In 1996,
we're in the future.
The main planning of it and the actually making of the.
Right. So is this when the project started back in 1996?
And it was supposed to lift off in 2007. Which that's a long time ago. It should have, but they were having problems with the glass and on making the glass and stuff like that. But it's ended up being costing 10 billion. 10 billion. It's supposed to be 500 fucking million, and it will launch sometime at the end of the year.
Right, cool.
Reckon.
We'll look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
We were talking last week about the ISS.
And
a
lot of trouble up there.
Well, this is it. I mean, because Russia are putting up their own space station, and they're going, can we have bits back and all the rest of it?
Yeah.
NASA, Russia have basically reported that they had damages. Yeah. So NASA have hit back at Russian reports and said that the International Space Station had bad cracks in the US Space Agency, saying floating space labs are operating as normal. NASA denied the Russian claims that the International Space Station had suffered bad cracks on their watch.
Yeah, this is all over, don't you? It's all over this drilled hole.
But didn't we say that it seemed a bit sort of like espionage in the first place? Because it seemed like,
And they've been taking time.
There was a hole, and it looked perfectly like a drill hole or something, but nobody could understand who did it.
Yeah, and it would have, if the cosmonauts would have got on there and gone down, it would have been a major disaster.
You know what to do. You get out with a polyfiller and get filling up them cracks, don't you?
I mean? Yeah, if you got a crack, you fill it.
Oh, fucking hell, what you want? If you got a crack, you should fill it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, well, you don't want to leave it open,
real
do you?
Good.
You don't know what comes in that hole.
Fairly good. Where's Phil?
Oh,
Where's Phil when you need him?
Well,
Right.
Talking
of Phil.
Phil,
Yep.
China is on the form as well of speeding up on getting into space because they've just
They're all
launched
at it.
another 4 satellites on 2 rockets within hours of each other. So they're on the up and coming. I think we're going to have a bit of a fucking argument.
Well,
up
do
there
you know
soon.
this is why Space Force exists, I think.
Yeah,
because not
because-
only it's like, we're going to be fighting wars that are, for territory.
Yeah.
Not only with alien species potentially, but with our own.
Well,
We've got
that's
this many
true.
agencies going up. Are we going to be like, encroaching on people's airspace or whatever? You know how it is in the
Well,
oceans.
yeah.
So we've got maritime law.
Yeah.
And all that we've spoke about this actually because I was saying, well, if I'm up in space and I murder you,
Yeah.
who do I, what governing body
Yeah.
would be responsible for charging me because I'm not on Earth? Yeah, and laws
Yeah.
only apply because I'm on Earth. Yeah, because they govern the land or maritime law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we have
But
to operate this whole new book of law? Yeah, for space.
It's being made right now.
I bet it is,
every
to be
little
honest.
bit,
Yeah, it's
because
like-
it'd be what spacecraft you're in. I should imagine.
Well,
Who
we can
owns
imagine that. We'll come across
They'll
aliens
come
and
the
we'll be
laws.
like, "You're breaking the law." I don't know if you realise. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you
who
just turned up.
If I doing for speeding, who's going to pay the ticket?
Exactly. This is it.
Yeah, now these are the crazy
So
questions.
we will start establishing some credit system.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But it depends if we could ever get up there, to be honest, because unfortunately,
Crazy times.
Firefly rocket exploded the other day
What?
after the first launch.
Was this a Chinese rocket?
No, it's actually an American rocket.
Right, okay.
From California. 2 minutes 30. 2 minutes 30 in it.
In it.
Apparently, it had not doubled the speed of what it should have been at that time, at the speed of sound. It should have reached it a lot earlier, and it didn't. So I think that was the major issue on it. But it was a nice little explosion. It was very far up though. I think it was
fair
in
enough.
stage 2 at the time that it was disastrously gone.
Well,
Hopefully the next one will go better.
well, there's something that they have been testing that did work.
Oh yeah.
And NASA have been testing a new electric aircraft. It could be taking off and landing vertically, which it does. And they
Nice.
hope by 2024 it'll able to shuttle passengers across busy cities at about 200 miles an hour.
See, this is going into the airport kind of airplane industry kind of
Well,
thing.
it's like flying buses, isn't it? I think you can monitor flying buses a bit quicker than you can flying cars. If you give everyone a flying car and say, yeah, go at it, go mad.
And it's gonna be available
It's going to be accidents,
sometime
but if,
this year.
But if, there's what a flying car is.
Flying car, yeah. There's already one in production at the minute. I think it's Sweden, a company in Sweden that have done it, and it's actually on sale.
Well, these look like big drones. The Jobby Aviation vehicle could be one day serve as an air taxi.
Ah, right.
So travelling around cities and the surrounding areas.
Are they going
should
manned
be
or
cool.
unmanned? Because they're going to be getting them unmanned down there. So are they going to have unmanned craft up there?
A flying
And if they actually crash and there's an incident, who claims for it? Who's the claimant?
Well, I'm sure. Well, this is the thing, you see, because if you limit it to, like commercial vehicles like buses and taxis, then, you're only going to be hitting your own.
I don't even like the idea of drones.
So if a
delivering
company,
shopping.
so this is the thing, isn't it? So say like, a taxi company decides, right, we're going to be using these new flying cars.
Yeah.
We've invented them.
Yeah.
So they're the only people using them.
Yeah.
Right? So if they crash into each other, it's just collateral damage. It's down to the company to pay. There's no insurance involved. It's only when other companies and other developers start throwing up their flying cars as rivals, then you get competing claims because it's like, well, you've just broke my car, or well, you broke my car.
Yeah,
you know,
and stuff like jammers.
All
and stuff
these
like
people
this.
have fell to the deaths
Yeah,
like from thousands of feet.
Yeah, you got to consider it like
At 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a mini rocket at the end of the day.
Well, it's a crazy. It's like a helicopter.
Yeah,
These
I
ones.
mean, and the
and the
batteries.
NASA. So you know,
Well, yeah.
it's
Well,
an
there's a lot of
all-electric
companies that's
flying
trying to do it.
taxi, and it can take off and land vertically. So that's cool.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's me for NASA news, though.
Same here, son.
Well, there you
Same
go.
here.
That's the end of the show.
I think so.
Been an interesting one. I feel
Yes.
like I'm losing my voice today. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's come across. If you think that is good, let me know.
I think because it's late.
It is getting late. Yeah, God,
Yeah,
what we
early
on?
hours
10
of the
to 4 in the
10 to
morning.
4, oh.
It's never an early one, is it?
No.
Well, that's the end of the
Do
show.
it for
If
you.
you want to, got anything to tell us, got anything to say,
Yeah.
you want to
Please
get in
do.
touch, have a question,
Yeah.
comment, or a suggestion, you can email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. We're
Keep us
available
up
on
all
Twitter at NASA_never and on Instagram at neverstraightanswer.
Yeah.
We're available on all podcast platforms, so
Damn right.
wherever you get your podcasts, you can go and subscribe to us there.
Come and smell the cheese.
Hey, oh yeah, we're available on iTunes, Spotify. We've got a large back catalogue with plenty of episodes and topics to
donuts.
choose from.
Yeah, baby, we got loads.
Plus, we're available on YouTube, where we
Yeah.
occasionally throw up our mugs.
We do.
And we're looking at doing, we generally do like a live stream every 50th episode,
Yeah,
and we're
do.
coming close to that.
We are.
We're just trying to work out what the best course of action is for that.
Yes.
So if you've got any ideas or
Please
you
send
things you'd
along,
like
yeah.
to see,
Yeah,
let us
tell us,
know.
tell us.
And we'll be
It's
doing
coming up.
some of our favourite segments and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, make sure you get involved. I'll be tweeting out a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks for
Yeah.
people to get involved with that.
You don't want to see like the hundreds, so you want us
You
to
want-
do stuff and tell you stuff. Give us the questions.
Also, get involved by
Yeah.
what can they do to
Twitter.
get involved? Yeah, just get involved.
Twitter.
You can share
Email.
us, send us around, co-workers, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Make sure you share us, like
Oh, yeah.
and subscribe.
Yeah,
Really helps.
It does, it
You
really
can
does.
join us on Patreon, where we've got a number of tier levels, and
tiers.
it all helps.
it does.
Really
We-
does.
need it.
Also, don't forget to vote for us in the Podcast Awards.
Yes,
And
we
we'll
want to
catch
win.
you-
We
we'll
want to
catch
win.
you next week.
We
'cause
will.
It's tired, and I want to go to bed.
You do. You look tired, son. You look tired. Have coffee.
I've got a bit of brew in my cup, so
You
I'm
have.
gonna make a fresh
Same,
one,
mate.
and then I'm gonna go to bed. So,
gonna
right,
let it
we'll
dry
catch
home.
you next week,
You will.
where we'll be back with another exciting episode.
As
I think we've got some
always.
guests coming up at some point as well.
We have. We've got a lineup of guests who
I
will
thought you
be
were saying
on
we was
their
going to say
way.
we had Lionel.
Lionel. Well, we can find a Lionel.
Lionel
I'll have a
Richie.
look for a Lionel.
I
No,
want
no.
Lionel Richie.
You want Lionel Richie?
We won't
I
get
will
Lionel
try my
Richie.
best.
I don't think we will ever get Lionel Richie. But
No.
what would he talk about?
I don't know. Hello.
No,
Is
like
it me
how
you're
he-
looking for, son?
Making like how he makes clay
Yeah.
bust, or how he appreciates the making.
We'll just
the clay
get him
bust.
singing the song in the background while we
talk about aliens.
yeah. I think he'd do it.
We go with those aliens.
Yeah.
Hello.
He might be on the bread line now.
Is it
You know what I
me
mean?
you're looking for? Yeah, we are. Come down,
Yeah.
abduct us.
Good.
Right.
No, don't abduct us.
Abduct
No.
Taylor.
No,
Right.
No.
We'll be
please.
back next week. We've
Yes, we
rambled
will.
on too long.
We have. We're too tired, man.
I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Ow, touchy.
What is with the cheese?
I don't know.